Today's review video will be about a drone. That's why we're in this beautiful open field, which is also really, really hot, over 90 degrees early in the morning here in Florida, but there's worse things you could be doing. You could be digging ditches or whatever. We're reviewing a drone today. We're going to review the HOVERAir X1 PROMAX, the bundle. So that means it's not going to be a one-part, but a two-part video series. Today will focus on the drone as well as the app that goes along with the drone. That's where we're going to go back to the home studio and cool off a little bit and not get our little farmer stand here. But out here in the field, we're going to explore each and every mode of the HOVERAir X1 PROMAX. Video number 2 in this series will focus on the accessories and how they really, outside of even using the app, they really do just make the entire experience using the HOVERAir X1 PROMAX much, much easier. And also in some ways, when you include some accessories, much, much safer. So what we're going to do is go further into the sun and sit on that bench, and we're going to talk about some of the features and the modes of the HOVERAir X1 PROMAX. So hot. So let's talk about the features, the modes, and everything that makes the HOVERAir X1 PROMAX drone. Wait, hold on. Oh, right here. Hold on a second. It fits in your pocket right there. This is a foldable drone as well. So really, really compact. Even in the unfolded position, when you fold it though, it is pocketable. Of course, be careful with that camera. Can't even say, it makes me very nervous, but it's well protected. The camera's down here and this is folded up, and I do use the included case with this, but just for demonstration purposes, it fits in your pocket, especially with loose fitting soccer shorts that the heat of Florida is now soaking. So if you don't want it near moisture, don't put it in your pocket during August in Florida. But I just wanted to demonstrate that because this is a really portable drone. But portability doesn't mean as much if there's not functionality, if there's not modes, if the video quality, the resolution is not good. And this goes all the way up to 8K resolution. And when we get to the app, I'm going to show all that stuff as far as frame rates, resolution, built-in audio recording, as well using your iPhone or a mic system. Tons and tons and tons of fun. It's a little, that's why we go to the open field to practice. So practice makes perfect. And that's why we've been out here quite a few times using this drone, but it really is a pickup and play, or a pick up and work, pick up and get B-roll, even A-roll. We've done everything with the HOVERAir X1 PROMAX. So let's go through some of the modes that we used with this. Once again, I'm going to spoil it, this awesome drone. Now, even though I talked about the app that I'm going to use my iPhone 15 Pro, you don't technically need the app. And stay tuned for the accessory video in part 2 of the series, because you don't need the app. The app really helps. I prefer using it, but even on the screen right here, as I turn it on, you get everything you need right here on the screen of the HOVERAir X1 PROMAX. So when you start it up, it'll have a chime. There's many, many audible cues on this for modes, and you're going to hear that as I switch through. I'm going to B-roll some of the modes and actually physically on the drone as well, and you'll see that cycle through. But right now, we are defaulted on hover mode. So we're going to show that, like I said, with B-roll, what hover mode is. But just for now, for hover mode, I'm going to hit the button, hold my hand up just like this.
Continue. Hover.
And you hear a countdown beep. And there's hover mode right there. Now, it is recording me right now as well. And I do not have the app open. We're going to get to the built-in recording that requires the app to be open to sync that audio to the video. But right now, it's hovering about maybe 2 to 3 feet from me, just to get it in frame right here to make sure. And you can hear that propeller sound. Once again, we're going to get to the app. You can take that propeller sound out of your video as we're talking here to do that. Now, you can do it in post, but the app does an amazing job. We'll touch more on that. But if you want to just basically have it land in your hand, you put it right underneath there. And one of the sensors, there's tons of sensors on here for obstacle avoidance. And of course, putting your hand underneath the drone, then just fold it back up. Now, hover is basically going to simulate this tripod I have with the Osmo Pocket 3, so any camera. So if I wanted to do just something without a tripod, outdoor space, even indoor space, because indoor follow is another mode that I used, and we'll get to that when we go through the app once again. But it just really, once again,
Continue.
you get audible instructions. Just make sure your hand's flat. And right there. So the best part is, as I walk around, I might walk a little off camera, the drone turns with me. And even as I go behind the camera here and come back in, the drone, so speaking of my South Philly Italian hands and never being able to stand still, the drone will turn towards me. So hover is basically like tripod mode for this, but a tripod does not follow 360. This here absolutely does, no matter where I'm at. And it just makes it super easy to do that. And once again, put my hand right under here and right there. Now we have other modes here, like follow,
Dolly track.
dolly track. Let's go back to follow.
Dolly track. Follow.
Follow means that it's going to follow you from behind. So when I walk, it's going to be that shot, that dynamic shot, as if someone has a gimbal and they're running behind you or walking behind you and basically stabilizing everything. This is basically a one thing, not person, film crew for stuff like that. So you can get some amazing shots, B-roll, even A-roll if you want to include the built-in recording with the HOVERAir X1 PROMAX and the app. Can't be said enough. You got to leave the app open to get the audio synced to the drone. But that is follow. As we go to the next one, dolly track is the opposite. So if follow is, it follows from behind, dolly track will, when you program a distance and height from you, will basically be in front of you so I can walk towards the drone. And that's something we did on the opening for episode 100 of the Stevie Richards Show. We used this drone twice, for a WrestleMania opening, a cold open they call it, and the episode 100 opening, which, by the way, when we get the manual control, my wife literally just picked up the app, looked at everything, and was able to fly it and really make a cinematic sequence using it with no experience. We literally went to the football field. I showed her the app, a little bit of the controls, and she manually controlled it with no. I have a little bit of drone experience. She had none, and really picked this up almost instantly. And, well, because she's smarter than me. So the next mode is angle track. This is another really cool angle track, pun intended, where it will angle almost not over your shoulder, but kind of back behind your hip type thing. And when I turned around, it still tracked me. So it wasn't like only on the left side. Then when I flip around and walk back, it knew to continue the angle track on the opposite side, on the right side. And I was really impressed with that. And that might be, they're all my favorite modes because you can combine all these shots, like I said, for cinematic sequences. But that angle track gives you more of, if I was approaching somebody to say something to them, it's kind of that voyeuristic kind of off to the side watching everything. And I really do like angle track as a, recent new addition to the modes for the HOVERAir X1 PROMAX. Now, dolly zoom, if you are old enough to remember the movie Jaws and that zoom in, but it was like a combination between two zooms at the same time. And I've tried to replicate this with my iPhone. I tried to replicate it with the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 and other cameras. This is set it and forget it. The easiest and actually the most successful, because the other ones, if you haven't seen them, that's because they weren't really good. This did everything. I was so impressed with the results. And I added a little bit of stabilization, just extra because of my OCD nature in DaVinci Resolve, and really studied it out even more. But what you're seeing now is the raw dolly zoom mode with no stabilization and nothing added in post. All right, the next mode of the HOVERAir X1 PROMAX is zoom out. And that's exactly what it sounds like. You stand there and it zooms out on an angle. Once again, you can program the height and so many parameters with this. I kept it pretty much on default and just to see what it would do. And I was really satisfied. Once again, we did the WrestleMania opening for the Stevie Richards Show, and that zoom out on the beach was something that people still now within our audience talk about. And that's really when you're using something like this and someone's like, how did you get that shot? How did you do that? That was so cool. And then You can either tell them or keep it to yourself. I'm telling you right now, so I have no secrets when it comes to that, and I was really, really impressed with zoom out. So the next mode is orbit mode. Now, the cool part about this is not so much the orbit, which is great. You can program the parameters, but I had it programmed for 3 orbits because out of those 3, I don't really stand still, as you can tell from the video. Those 3 orbits, I can take the best one and time it and do that. Once again, the WrestleMania opening for the Stevie Richards show, we did orbit and people really, really liked that. We did orbit out here, and as you're getting more experience, I can experiment with different heights and everything. But once again, whatever it defaults on in all these modes, I really just kept it that way, and I was super satisfied. So Hover knows exactly what I like, I guess. So the next mode we're not going to use here nor at my home, but we did use it at the Force USA headquarters in Draper, Utah. And we're talking about indoor follow. That's where a lot of drones in the past, the GPS on those and everything, this really stuck to me, even going throughout gym equipment, a hallway, a doorway that I pushed open. It followed me into the backstage kind of filming area and the warehouse for Force USA. It did a great job. And in a future video, maybe for the accessory part of this series, I might try indoor follow on a very narrow hallway in my home from outside to inside. That kind of shot is just pretty amazing. I can also put it to where it follows me around the garage gym, but you know, with everything, even with the obstacle avoidance, it's pretty cluttered in there. If it was open, I would feel better about that. But once again, just a side note, I could put this up on the sauna and position on something and then have my iPhone and the app open and sync it in a multicam situation during workouts and reviews and capture the audio, then sync it to multicam in Final Cut Pro or DaVinci Resolve. So the next mode is bird's eye, and this is really cool as well. I did it standing up, but it's kind of like one of those things that I can imagine my wife out here in the field having a picnic and the bird's eye comes up. You can always reverse that to zoom in. So when you're doing a bird's eye, it's going to go straight up over your head, a determined amount of distance or height with that elevation, but it's more if you were laying down or doing something like that. But even standing up without looking up, it was a really, really cool shot. And I also did that during the WrestleMania opening for the show. There's just so many modes you can use and put it together in such an amazing cinematic sequence. Now, Snapshot I have not used yet, but I plan on using that maybe in part 2 of this series. But like I said, every mode has been really easy, really plug and play, and I've been pretty happy with it. So even after, a couple weeks using this thing, I still haven't gone through all the modes. So I think that's a positive because I've been using all the other modes so much that Snapshot kind of fell by the wayside, at least for now, until part 2 of the video. The next mode is spiral, and at first I was like, I'm not so sure about spiral, but there was a part of it. And a lot of these modes, you may not use the whole thing, but you can at least get with B-roll that 5, 10, 15, maybe even 20 seconds where you'd be like, this is where I need to be. And you combine all of them, all these modes in a 5 to 10 second B-roll clip with some music, cinematics, other things. But spiral, at first I was like, no. Then the last maybe 5 to 8 seconds, I was like, that is a cool shot. It was almost like spiraled down and somehow the camera went up a little bit and it just had such a cool look. I can't explain it. I'm not like a filmmaker or anything, but I was very, very happy and very pleased. And I wasn't sure what to expect from Orbit, but that part of the Orbit mode really made me like this. I'm going to use this for something. Probably be all in the review, but I'll hold that mode for something connected to the show where there's a voiceover, something dramatic, really cool stuff. Now, the 2 modes I am not going to demonstrate in this until I get an e-bike and try skiing for the first time at 54 years old. Cycling mode and ski mode, or cycle mode and ski mode. These are really good. And this is something where one of the accessories, in the next video I'll explain it, the beacon really comes in handy for both those modes, but especially cycle mode or cycling mode. I've seen a lot of people use that, and it's definitely another layer of redundancy and targeting lock on you using the beacon on your bike or e-bike, motorcycle, whatever it might be, and it will track you according to that. But stay tuned for part 2 of the series where we cover that. So it's super hot right now. It's got to be 100 degrees. I am sweating right now, and I got that that farmer's tan right now. So we're going to go back to the studio. I'm going to demonstrate all the things the app has to offer. And I have to say, if you're worried because all the features are going to get lost, they have tutorials and all that stuff. But let's go back to the studio. I'm probably going to have to take a shower, change my clothes, and then we're going to demonstrate what the HOVERAir X1 PROMAX app does. So here we have the Hover app on my iPhone 15 Pro. We're going to go through all the stuff here, the flight modes, connecting to the Hover, as well as some of the edit templates and everything, which we haven't used. Maybe in part 2, we'll definitely use that. This is the home screen right here, and you have a bunch of people posting, and you can even post if you'd like, and I might post something from the review today. We also have featured, activity, and of course tutorials. Really big. They do provide a lot of tutorials, so if you're lost, they'll show you everything you need to know. And of course, the store right there. Now let's go and connect right now to the Hover. We can activate Connect right here. It's searching for it, and it should take a second or two for it to pop up. There we go. It just kind of timed out after a few minutes, so I will connect right here. Just remember that if it doesn't pop up, hit the button, wake it up from sleep, and we're good to go right here. So right here we have Hover settings, locate my Hover, and Hover album. We're going to focus on the settings right now. By the way, Smart Preview gives the screen, manual control as well gives you probably guessed it, manual control. In the left-hand corner, we have the battery. I'm charging it right now at my desk, 51.6 gigs remaining. And also that is the internal storage on the left, and then the SD card storage. Yes, this has internal recording on a device where you can plug it in, and I drag everything over onto my Mac, or you have the SD card right there. So let's go to settings. And right here we have flight settings and then change flight modes. We're going to go in the flight modes here first. And you're going to see we have hover, zoom out, follow, all these different things that we went over here in the video. Tons and tons of modes that you can use, have a lot of fun with, and create very cinematic, professional looking videos. So also we have right here is hover, follow, dolly track, all the different modes, 8K, 24 frames a second, video encoding, H.265. It's a smaller, more compressed, more efficient. Some computers might not like that, but let's go from the top. Duration, continue, target tracking, video and photo. You can take photos with this, and also shooting mode, normal. Let's go here, apply all modes. So that's really good. We have normal, HLG, slow-mo, H-log, and HDR. We're just shooting in normal right now to get the full 8K resolution. Zoom, ×1, ×2, keep it on ×1. And then down here, 4K, 1080p, as well as we have 8K 24 frames a second. I was sending test footage to James from the show, so he was thumbs upping my photo. Here we have 8K 24, 25, and 30 right there. And we can confirm, which we will do right there, and apply to all modes. This is really great. So I don't have to go to each mode here and change it. I want everything to be uniform. And that's what it looks like right there. Now let's look at ND filter optimization, because on the Pocket 3, we had no ND filter. So you probably saw a difference in the footage. We have these 4 ND filters right here, and we're using 16. We might have went up to 32 because the sun was really, really strong. But 16 is usually what I leave it on, and then mess with the exposure settings and things like that. So we also have the sound recording option. Remember, you need to have the app open and active with this turned on as well to get the sound recording option to work with the drone. So we also have watermark setting right here where you can put all that stuff on each video. The firmware is up to date. Image optimization is standard in portrait. We keep it on standard. And then storage management, right here you can see, and we can also reformat both of them when we're done within the app. Makes it very, very easy. It's not buried, like even on my Sony FX30, it's literally buried in the settings, and I got to create a menu favorite for that. battery information. The battery cycle count on this battery is at 4. We've been using it quite a bit. By the way, battery life, I was able to get mostly everything but one mode within that 16-minute advertised. And with the wind at one time in one session, it dropped to about maybe 14 minutes of runtime. Then we have the voice setting. I haven't even looked at or tried any of this stuff with voice control. I have it off, as a matter of fact. And also calibration, the language, and the units right there. We're in America. You can also go to meters if you like. And there we are with that. So let's go once again into the flight modes. And you have everything right here from basic to skilled. We demonstrated all this stuff here, and then we go over to edit. Now, I haven't tried these editing templates out, but they seem to be really good with other brands, and I can't say that these won't be good if you're not sure. It literally just will, like golden hour track right here. Really, really good. You can use that template right off the bat if you'd like, and then we have me, the profile, my hover, beacon firmware, beginner tutorial, hover care, achievements, the community, check restricted flight areas, a lot of information in this app. And we're going to accept and go right back here. And this is the one we have, X1 PROMAX. I say that fast 10 times with a Philly accent. So let's go back to the field and let's continue this review of the X1 ProMax from Hover. All right, so let's sit down. And yes, my wife just informed me. She showed up with a drink because she knows I usually don't come prepared, but I did come prepared at least with this drone. And what are my thoughts? You probably know already. I love this thing. And I was talking, my wife is off camera, about how you shot the episode 100 cold open manual control without even any kind of tutorial. You did a great job. Thumbs up for that. Thumbs up for this. I really like it. Let's the company wants me to demonstrate that it's pocketable, so that's what I'm about to do. It's not false advertising, considering I wouldn't recommend doing that with a camera, but just for demonstration purposes. But in all seriousness, this drone, out of all the ones I use from other companies throughout the years and everything, this has been the easiest drone. It's been something that's built my confidence as a potential filmmaker. I'm just a content creator, but in order to do these things as a beginner, plug and play, but really diving deep in this stuff, diving in the log profile and everything, I will definitely have an updated review of the HOVERAir X1 PROMAX. And of course, part 2 is coming on the accessories, because I really do believe they deserve their own video, and they really do open up the functionality even without using the app. So there's a link in the description below. I highly recommend it. This has probably been the best drone I've ever used, and I have no doubt you will feel the same way. And use that link in the description and the pinned comment and check it out. But for now, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for marrying me, my wife. I'll see you in the next video.
He's going to the sprinklers. You guys, play by play. He's going to the sprinklers. Oh my God. We have to drive home after this. And he's going in the sprinklers. I hope you guys can see this. They're a lot farther than he thought, I think. You just won the Water Olympics of Florida. Where are you going to go?
Don't put a pocketable drone as run through the sprinklers.